Things you should know about COVID number 6. When doing a rapid test, should you also swab your throat? In January 2022 and since then, people have been sharing on Twitter especially that when they do rapid tests, their nose is coming back negative, but their throat is coming back positive, or at the very least, the throat is coming positive quicker. Here's a picture of someone whose test was negative on their nose on day 1 through 3 of symptoms, so their nose became positive on day 4, while a throat swab became positive on day 2 of symptoms. Here's someone who did 5 tests at the same time. The top one and the bottom one, they did a cheek, back of the throat, and nose swab, and those are the only 2 ones that came up positive. So what do the studies say? One study found that with Delta, the nose swab was way more accurate than the throat swab, and then with Omicron it flipped where throat was more accurate than nose. Another study found that throat and nose combined was way more effective than just nose, and another study found that nose was more effective and swabbing the throat only increased positive rates by 3%, which is not very substantial. It's important to note that some of those studies were about PCRs, some of those studies were about rapid tests. It's unclear if that makes a difference, just the science overall is unclear as of this moment. It's important to note that in Ontario, Canada, their health district put out a graphic showing that you can do the cheek swab and nose, and I believe in the UK it's also talked about this way. However, in the US, generally they encourage you to follow the test manual to a T. One of the reasons is that you can get a false positive if you have food or drink in your mouth. The test can react with that and give you a false positive. Additionally, they seem to be worried that people are going to jab themselves in the throat and get hurt, which I guess is a valid concern, but to me, I would encourage people to do it carefully rather than saying don't do it at all. It kind of reminds me of how they lied early on about masks not working, and we later learned that they just said that so that more masks were available for medical professionals. And lastly, the tests in the UK and Canada are billed as working in the mouth or nose. The tests in the US are marketed just for the nose, and maybe they're calibrated that way, and something about the mouth will mess them up. But I don't know, a lot of people are reporting that the throat is catching it quicker. Those photos are pretty compelling to me, so while the evidence is conflicting, I do the throat swab plus the nose at the same time. Here's another way to use this. Let's say you've been testing your nose and you feel like crap, but you're testing negative. You could try a cheek and throat test to double confirm that it's not COVID, maybe something else. When I swab or do a rapid test, I do each cheek for about 5 seconds. I try and get the roof of my mouth and my tonsils. I start to gag at that point, so I do what I can, and then I move to swabbing my nose. Just remember, if you're gonna throat or cheek swab, don't eat or drink for about 20 to 30 minutes beforehand. Here's a bonus video of the best way to swab your nose.
My name is Eric Levi. I'm an ear, nose, and throat surgeon from Melbourne, Australia. I've seen a lot of people doing something like this. Now, that's not great sampling. That is just swabbing the hairy skin of the nose at the front. What we want to get is the mucosa of the respiratory lining of the nose, which is down and back. So please go flat, aim backwards, and go slow, go low.